Given the depth of talent in this draft, do you think the Packers would be better served to trade up for an elite first-round pick or trade down for more second to fourth-round picks? Which position should they target in the former case? Ziggy, we'll head over to you first.
So this is an interesting draft for trading down versus trading up. I think everybody wants their team to just trade down, but it's not as if your team is the only team that knows that this is a draft of a lot of deep talent and not a lot of stars, right? Every single team in the NFL knows that, and I think it's going to be a seller's market. So weirdly, I think this could be a very good year to stay pat or even consider trading up. I'm generally in favor of trading down, but it's possible you will be able to get well below market prices for trading up. As for who you should be targeting, my position is always the players you should be targeting are players at positions that you can't trade for or get in free agency. So guys like edge rushers, tackles, wide receivers, you at least usually have to pay a lot to get. Cornerbacks, it's the same way. But the harder a position is to acquire in free agency elite talent, like you can get Saquon Barkley in free agency. You cannot get Myles Garrett in free agency. That's not possible. The Browns will never let that happen. Those are the positions you should be targeting if you can.
Go ahead, Jack.
I like the big boys up front on the defensive side of the ball for Green Bay, and or that idea. I'd probably go after somebody big who can get to the quarterback.
Well, it's interesting too because you think about Jeff Hafley, right, and what he likes to do. Man coverage, get after the quarterback. And I heard the Packers were tied for the most zone coverage defense in football this year. And frankly, like, you look at it, they couldn't get after the quarterback very well. So I totally understand the thought of, hey, let's go out there and try and build up this defense to better fit our coach as well. I'm looking at Green Bay, and I'm seeing a lot of people talk about receiver to them. And I saw Mecca Ibuka's been mocked there. If McMillan falls, then I could see him being the pick. But when you think about what the Packers actually need here, they receiver would be nice. I don't know if they need a receiver. I do believe that they need a cornerback, especially if they trade Jair Alexander. And I'm telling you guys, the Vikings defense in 2017, when they had Xavier Rhodes and Trey Waynes was playing well, and they were shutting everybody down, such a great feeling. And you know, because you've seen these Steelers defenses. And then when it flips this, when you flip the switch and losing Jair Alexander, who again doesn't play very often at this point with the injuries, but when you lose a guy like that, you could get torn apart. If you don't have those dudes in the back end with Jared Goff and the way he's thrown the ball, with what Caleb Williams could become, the weapons the Vikings have, I think you want to lock down that cornerback position, and hopefully, someone it's a weird draft with cornerback. Will Johnson's there; he probably won't fall that far. But if you were to move up, I could see them going for someone like him, because to me that could be a real problem in Green Bay. That they have edge rushers that you're hoping someone could step up. They have receivers you're hoping someone could step up. I don't think they have cornerbacks where someone can step up right now.
Well, and here's the difference and why I like them targeting defense is Jordan Love can elevate players around him, right? There are players on offense and players on defense that elevate guys around them. Like TJ Watt elevates everybody around him on defense. Like that's a thing. The Packers, they have a functional defense. They do not have anybody that can elevate all the other guys around them like they hopefully do on offense. So I think solidifying defensive talent, you're probably not getting a star, but getting a good, solid contributor is exactly what they should be looking for on the defensive end. And it can be cornerback, like you say. I think cornerback might be a position they'll target in the second round. There's a lot of guys in like the 30s and 40s on big boards. I think they might go after an edge rusher instead, or maybe a guy on the interior defensive line. Those are both great positions. Shamar Stewart out of Texas A&M, I think, is an interesting prospect for them. But
well, he's one of those guys that if Hafley believes that he can get the most out of him, you could be looking at a freak. I don't want to take
that dude's a stud.
Yeah, I don't want to take guys. I don't want to take guys like that at like safety, I guess, or receive. Like I think the edge rusher is the perfect position for the freak who hasn't put it together skill wise. If that makes sense.
Or those those fast interior defensive linemen that are
D linemen to me is like that's where I think of Daniil Hunter when he came out of LSU and the Vikings grabbed him. like freak athlete, someone that you said, all right, if you could just mold him and teach him technique, he'll be a monster.
Do you think Packers fans are sick of hearing about guys like that?
Maybe they'll trade up for Abdul Carter number one.
Again, there's a lot of depth along the defensive line in this draft. So if I were the Packers, I'd be leaning towards cornerback. That's what I would be targeting.
But there also is seriously nothing worse than someone who has seen it for a couple of years is when the opposing quarterback drops back to pass,
and you
just know somebody's going to be wide open against your treacherous secondary.
Oh yeah, I think it's a real problem for Green Bay this year that like if they don't address the cornerback room. Like that's something that I'm keeping my eye on because the rest of the roster is great. But are Hobbs and Keyshawn Nixon enough? I think you need more. That sort of also answers Nathan Sparks' question about dream picks for teams. For the Vikings, it would also kind of be like landing. I think we also need a little bit of help at corner. The Vikings is kind of interesting because they have so many possibilities of where they can go. At one point, like Ashton Genty would have been the dream pick for me, but it seems like he's almost a lock in the top 10 at this point.
We should trade down and take a guard.
Yes, where the Vikings are going to trade down and they're probably going to go off it. Like the Vikings will be trading down in the draft. And if we do go to the draft, which it's kind of up in the air right now, probably leaning towards though. But if we do go, I'd be standing there watching, waiting for the Vikings to trade out of round one.
I mean, a guard's a very unattractive, non-sexy pick, but
it mattered. Like we talk about it.
Yeah, then you watch the game and these guys are bullying their way and holes are opening up and it's like, oh, it's kind of nice having an offensive line.
What's sexy is Jordan Mason getting 5 yards a carry.
Yeah, and Justin Jefferson catching,
so you're pretty sexy.
Yeah. All right, let's move over here to Jacob Clay says, question for Ziggy. Ziggy, here's some philosophy for your birthday.
Ziggy.
How do you engage with a philosopher who uses the Socratic method to break down any argument into minuscule issues that are leagues away from the greater question at hand? Is the only valid response to give up and admit everything is made up and nothing has any meaning? For anyone who followed along with it.
I'm taking my headphones off for this one.
Well, I'll say this. First of all, that's just not the Socratic method. That's what jerks say the Socratic method is. The Socratic method is productive. Second of all, I don't know what it means to admit that everything's made up and nothing has any meaning. Words have meaning. Certainly, there are some things that are made up. I didn't make up the sun. So maybe I'm doing the thing and like breaking this down, but I don't know. Just like find the truth. Go to the inner man, light the beam. You'll figure it out.
This mailbag has a interesting mix of football-related and non-football questions.
Wait, you didn't drop the sun in the sky, Ziggy?
Wouldn't you like to know?
That wasn't.
I'm the one who made it bigger than the Earth.
All right, let's see here. We'll move on.
Gotcha.
Demolinator says, love the show, guys. Keep up the good work. This is an interesting question. That said, is running the channel and being a part of making content more of a hobby or a job for you? I assume it's always fun to a degree, but how often does it feel like a chore, either trying to keep up with information or handling the more administrative sides of creating online content? It's a great question because a lot of people ask us about how to get into the industry and what to do. And like, candidly, it is a lot of work if you want it to be successful. Now, luckily, I also think that Jack, Ziggy, myself, Zach, I think there is a degree of kind of natural talent too that our show has and a good chemistry where we're able to make it work on that end. And I think most people who have natural talent, if you work hard enough on this, you will eventually break through. But yeah, it definitely has its moments where like it is work. Like we have a great time and our motto is basically when it's not fun, we'll stop. So it's always fun, but it's always, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
It's a good time.
Yeah, but Paul, one of the very first things you said when we were starting out was when it's not fun, we stop.
Yeah.
We're only going to do this as long as we have a good time.
Yeah. So it's for anyone who's like thinking about it, it's a great thing to just get your content out if you want to do it. Like just sit down and record. Jack and I did an episode in my Uncle Tommy's garage. I always bring that up. And it was the worst looking episode of March Madness content that no one wanted to watch, with our friend Michael wearing sunglasses. The camera zoomed in on his face at his house. Like it was horribly produced. But you do things like that and you learn from it. And then you're able to fix it for the next time that you go on, and it's way better because of it. So
it is a great time. Like it's a blast. But like during the football season, when we're ramping it up, and we're all working our jobs. Like I'm out from 7 or 8 to 5, and it's dark outside. I don't necessarily. It's tough to come and on a Sunday now and on the day off and record. But it's definitely it's work. but it's a lot of fun as well.
Yeah, that's well said.